you like some popcorn, Peter?
No, thank you.
Are you okay mentally?
Okay. Before we start this thing, we're just gonna do this?
We're gonna do it. Hello, Red Spotters. We're here with another movie. We just got out of Star Wars: Last Jedi. It is, yes, we are sponsored and bought by the mouse.
Now everyone is.
in the name of the mouse, the goof, and the duck. Him and
All hail Lord Disney.
exactly.
Well, Lord Disney and, of course, Supreme Leader Iger.
Oh, yes.
Except he won't go out in the way that.
Spoilers! First of all, first impressions and then spoilers.
If you clicked onto a video that's the length that this is eventually going to be.
We should do a general thing before we go into spoilers.
Let's just say whether we liked it or not.
Do we like it, guys?
Well, we should go one by one. You can go last, Kyle, if you want.
I want to go last because I have a lot to process with this film.
This movie will throw so many things at you, and for my money, I think they all worked well enough. There may be weaker elements, there may be stronger elements depending on your taste, but I think what we have here is an inspired director making something that completely propels the legacy of Star Wars forward in an amazing way, and this movie is completely unexpected. It is stunning. It is nothing what I thought it was going to be, and it's even better for it. I think it is great, and the fact that people feel conflicted, I think is a sign of how 30 years from now, people will look back on this and say, what just happened? Yes, it's that great of a movie.
Because before I went to see this, I was looking at the reviews, and it's like, oh, people really like it. That's good.
Oh, Peter. Then you got into the dark side.
Then I went to...
Well, you went to the comments section.
No.
That's where it went.
But, like, even the reviews, people are like, it's okay. Like, they were saying they loved it, but you could tell it's like they're almost like the mouse was holding a gun to their head. And then the comment section, like, oh, this sucked, this was terrible, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, like, all of this. So I was like, oh, shit. Okay.
Well, just to be clear, did any of the mainstream reviewers say that?
No one said it sucked, but everyone was like, well, there's issues. Like, it almost seemed like they were tiptoeing around it.
Yeah, but the way that I interpreted the reviews that were read by the main film critics and obviously the bloggers is that, in general, the positives outweigh the negatives. But everyone seemed to have walked away with their own particular issue, and it was hardly ever the same thing. Except for one storyline, many reviews had different issues to different scenes or choices that were made.
Well, let me get to how I felt. I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved all the different directions they took for the characters. I thought it was interesting.
Hear that, ladies and gentlemen? You got a rare I loved it from Peter Martinez.
Off the bat!
I thought the directing was incredibly well done. I know a lot of people before were like, the comedy, oh my god, they made jokes in the film, this is gonna suck, and I got really worried.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, that's a trend that's going on with films right now, and it's like Thor, I felt, leaned too heavy on it. I thought maybe Guardians did too.
Which are all Marvel films, which are known for their humor, so...
But the thing is with this, it would make more sense of the backlash if the jokes didn't land. But
no, it's not even that. The jokes were fine. They worked well.
And they never overshadowed. It's not as if they overwhelmed anything.
We'll get into it more, but I don't understand people's complaints. Maybe as we talk about it, I'll start to feel differently. I understand certain things where it's like, okay, that was a little bit weak, and that was a little bit weak, but nothing weaker than some of the complaints you can, throw at the original films, specifically the first and the second one.
Yeah.
So I really liked it. So what about you, Kyle?
Peter, I am in the same boat as you.
Okay.
I am in the complete...
Alexis, we're all in the same boat together.
But here's the thing, though. I feel...
Throw you out.
Cast you out. I felt his plight because, mind you guys, that I only had 1 hour's worth of sleep last night.
That was your fault.
Yeah, well, the thing is that because of all the backlash that's been had with this movie, and I fell for the dark side of the internet. Themes, guys, themes. Keep that in mind. Fell for the dark side of the internet, and lo and behold, oh my god, the internet was, wait for it, wrong? What? The internet is wrong. Wow.
Wrong.
I do not endorse the peach.
That's the first time I did that. You didn't repeat it.
Anyway. Well, thank you.
Oh wow.
Peter, I definitely felt your plight, but then I got into it, and my God, it is a Star Wars movie, but it's a completely different Star Wars movie.
Unlike anything I've ever seen in this franchise.
It's a movie.
And then here's the thing, like, it was so, this movie felt like one of my long-winded baths that I take with a bath bomb. It's so refreshing.
Okay.
This took a turn.
No.
This is not going to go the way you think.
It's very refreshing.
Oh, okay.
It's very refreshing.
Okay.
It's a very it's new. It's new, and that's what I felt like. All the people who have been complaining, like, oh, this is the same old bullshit that we got with Force Awakens. It's a carbon copy of A New Hope, or you get into the more the Rogue One and how there's too many callbacks. When a lot of people complained, remember when Bail Organa appeared?
I was one of them.
I was one of them too.
Yeah.
I mean, he should have been.
When Bail Organa...
Organa wasn't a problem. It was that scene. But
Yeah, when Bail Organa came out, and it was supposed to be like the callback scene.
Mm-hmm.
What,
a lot of people sighed and complained and all that stuff, but overall, a lot of people are like holding this as regarded as like the third Star Wars movie.
I see so many people saying like, "Oh, this movie sucked. Rogue One was way better."
Yeah, but to me, contextually,
I don't know where you're feeling.
The thing is that you give more shits about the characters in this new trilogy than you did with Rogue One. To be fair, you only had one movie to build upon it.
Sorry,
but the development of those characters were way better than Rogue One. Yes, I'm infamous on this channel for crying like a little baby at the end of Rogue One.
That was for nostalgia.
But that was pure nostalgia reasons. You know, you watch it 18 times and you like, okay, that. Well, yeah.
I have not seen that movie that many times.
And then you point out, okay, this could be better. This could be better. Ben Mendelsohn was a miss in that movie. Just different things. Like there were
misses.
Developments.
There were a
lot of misses.
But this movie really, it's very perplexing.
It swings for the fences, man. It swings for the fences. It takes risks that I don't think any other film in this franchise has taken.
And it's new, and it's completely different, and you feel like, oh, wait, I never see... With the exception of one scene that I'm like, okay, this feels very much like What So Happened, another Star Wars little dynamic, but then it turns it on its head and completely turns it, like, you think it's going to go this direction, but it completely goes the other direction. There's so many things new, and what Rian Johnson has done, he's definitely the modern day Irving Kershner in terms of what he has done in terms of like the staple legacy that he's done for this movie. I wholeheartedly recommend this film for those who are like craving for new Star Wars, and this is definitely new Star Wars.
It's a great Star Wars.
It is a great.
Can we get into spoilers?
Well, yeah. So
go ahead.
You liked it. I liked it. Okay, spoilers, guys.
Well,
go ahead.
There's a couple things I want to touch upon what you guys said, because it needs to be repeated, because some people don't know how to think properly. I think, as far as The Last Jedi is concerned, just to kind of wrap up what we feel about the movie is, in my humble opinion, I cannot recall a movie of this magnitude in which, as the story was unfolding, I couldn't anticipate what was going to happen next. And it has been a very long time where I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, how in the hell are they going to get out of this mess? Where is the end result? Where is this going? And as we're getting there, there's things that happen left and right that are fucking bombshells for the entire franchise. This movie, again, didn't go the way I thought it was going to do, because in, I guess, one of the big spoilers, well, not really a big spoiler, but it's a kind of a reset, because things really are dire. And, like, the same way that, the First Order destroyed the Republic in The Force Awakens, things get even worse. The Resistance is... What is the Resistance anymore?
Dying. It's dying.
This movie is them dying on the vine. And with every progressive escape, they lose more and more people. To the point where there is a scene at the end of the movie where where I don't even think a Star Wars film has ever bothered to go before, where the heroes admit defeat and accept their fate, and hope is dead. And the whole movie worked to earn that moment. But I don't think there has been a Star Wars film that has gone so far in terms of everything. And at the top of my head, there's just so many things that we'll get into right now, but I want to address what Peter said about people and people's reaction to this. Okay, so now we live in a world where The Force Awakens is a divided film. Last Jedi is apparently a piece of shit. And Rogue One is better than those two combined. I think that alone is a testament to where the society is going. It is the destruction of society. I'm not
going to exaggerate. It's a movie. If you don't like it, I don't care. But I just... A lot of the reasons why people don't like it, it's because it doesn't fit their fan fiction. It really... It's like people
I was going to get to that is because my main thing about all of this is that, people, especially like what you said, Peter, never listen to the fans, because fans, they don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. Because, okay, The Force Awakens...
We're idiots.
No, we're not. Well, The Force Awakens...
We tried to write a Star Wars movie.
Sure. The Force Awakens was everything that fans had been asking for over a decade of a new Star Wars film. And then not even a month later, they turn on it. Then they get Rogue One, which is a lesser film in every single way, almost every single way, with broad, vague characters, and a film that is riddled with fan fiction moments that I can't even believe some moments actually made it to the screen. And you love that. But wait a minute, I thought you wanted something new. But Rogue One wasn't something new. It was the exact same thing you've seen before.
Neither was Force Awakens.
No. Well,
Rogue One had newish things.
Rogue One, okay. But my main point is...
And the balls to kill off everybody. Spoilers.
Okay, maybe that wasn't really that ballsy. Compared to the things that happened in this movie, that wasn't that ballsy. You get served a movie in Last Jedi that is unlike anything you've seen before and unlike what you expected. And what do? You complain. Why should people listen to you?
Well, I guess, and I don't want to talk about the complaints the whole time, I want to get to the film.
Right.
But I just want to finish it off by saying, a lot of the reasons I see people getting mad is because it didn't fit their fan fiction. Well, I wanted Luke to go out and do this. Why did that happen to Snoke? I wanted this to be this. Rey's parents being nobody, that didn't fit my 12-page, 1,200-page fan fiction.
All I'm hearing is,
wrote.
I wanted.
I wanted a certain, and then when it wasn't, and it's like, you judge these as a film, and as a film, it's like, I didn't go in because I didn't want a certain thing, I just wanted to see a good film. And this was a good film. It had characters, they grew over the course. Their stories intertwined really well.
And I guess people should remember that...
There are surprises that were really well done.
People I think, should remember that film is supposed to challenge you. It's not always going to jive or jive with what you think.
The thing is that what makes a good film is it doesn't spoon feed you. And this is not what that movie did. There are definitely some shockers. There are definitely some moments, and my God, does Rian Johnson know what to do with the camera? This is a gorgeous film.
Wow,
it's a fucking gorgeous film. there are some shots that, that I want as a poster framed, and it's just amazing and beautiful. And the way that he conducts these shots, like there's this one shot where Leia is looking at the doom to come, and she's just like cloaked, and she has something over her face.
Talk about the one in the trailer.
Yeah. And that moment right there is gorgeous in itself.
It's a beautiful canvas.
It is a beautiful canvas, and my God, does Rian Johnson paint it beautifully.
Wow.
We should probably take this by character.
Okay, let's start off with Rey. Let's go with Rey. What do we think about her development in this film, building off from Force Awakens?
And I do need to call myself out, because I said I'm going to be pissed if Rey's parents turn out to be nobody. I wanted her to be a Skywalker. And again, that's another thing where I feel like, that's me as a fan, writing fan fiction in my head of what I want. And I think, especially the message of the film and a lot of the themes that are running through it, it made sense to make her nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And her longing to want to be somebody. And the film knew that it was doing that, because constantly throughout the film, they drop hints like, oh, who was my parents, da-da-da.
They have silhouettes of them.
And at the end, it's revealed unceremoniously, like, your parents just left you. Like, they were nobody.
They sold you for drinking money.
I love how he says, you don't fit into the story.
Yeah. But he says, but you're nobody to them, but you're somebody to me. And I think just the character progression between him and between Kylo and Rey was done very well. And the way they used the Force, in which they communicated, I loved the visual as well. It's like, you could have created that visual back in 1977, because it's just two cameras
right
looking at each. It's not this giant CGI thing. It really pushed forward the mythology of the Jedi, and also her relationship to Luke.
And it's kind of like each other are their own demons. Like Kylo Ren is Rey's demon, and vice versa. Okay. So let's go on to Kylo Ren, guys. What did we think of Kylo Ren's development in this film?
The second that it started off with him at Snoke's throne room, and he's just telling him off, and I was like, this is perfect. They understand this character. Because this is another
Kylo
thing.
or Snoke?
Kylo. Because this is the whole thing. After The Force Awakens, people are like, oh, he's just a whiny da-da-da-da-da, like, he sucks. And I'm like, yes, that's the point. That's what makes him such an interesting character. And, what's his name? Snoke basically calls him out. Like, you're constantly conflicted, you couldn't even best a girl when that's the first time she picked up a lightsaber.
And then he's like, you're just a child with a mask.
Yes, and I'm like, exactly, that gets to the heart of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then really calls him out, and that pushes him even further.
And then when he smashed his helmet,
because that's him saying, I'm not hiding any longer. Like,
yeah, and then did you see the shock on some of the not resistance, the First Order members?
They never see
when he was like, "Get me my ship," when he yelled out like that, and they're like, "Holy shit, is that what he looks like?" And
he's a little bitch.
Kylo Ren,
get your own ship.
Kylo Ren is a punk bitch.
I didn't notice that. Wow.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like a shock, and the way that I love that moment. One of my favorite Kylo Ren moments in this movie is where you hear General Hux. He's like, the First Order is dead, and like completely whining and being a little bitch about it. And the way that he chokes him out, the way that Kylo Ren chokes him out, he's like, "What'd you say?" And just put him in his place. And I love that.
What do you guys think of Snoke? Because this is actually controversial, I guess.
Okay. This is where I was going to get into. Okay. What I went into like there. It felt so much like Return of the Jedi.
Yes, it did.
So much like Return of the Jedi when you had Snoke, he was on his throne, and then you had Rey and Kylo in the same room. It was very much like even he pointed out to the window like, look what's happening to your own resistance. Look what's happening. But then, all of a sudden, Kylo Ren fucking slices him in half.
But what I love about that is...
That was different, though, than what
happened in Return of the Jedi. And that's why I was like, they turned it on its head.
It didn't end the way you thought.
No, it didn't.
But what I love about that is obviously Kylo isn't
a
strong
Sith.
enough.
He's not also not a Sith.
No.
It's like his whole thing was using the dark side to destroy the Sith and the Jedi.
Although I am pissed off. Well, not pissed off. But I do think it needs to be addressed. Not in some book, not in some video game, not in some comic book or some television show. In the films, what exactly was Snoke? I mean, because I thought it was okay if you didn't really explain who the Emperor was in the original Star Wars. Because we had never seen a Star Wars before, so it could have been like, oh, it was just some guy. This takes place after we've seen Star Wars, so it's like, this guy just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I do think it's important.
And now he's dead. And what was the point of it all?
Yes. So
and what comes next is the real question, is what was Snoke ultimately going to do?
See, it's one of those things where if they can explain it in the next movie, I think I can forgive it. It's the same thing, because everyone had an issue with, like, really? Rey beat Kylo in a lightsaber thing? And it's like, well, just wait till the next film. And I think they addressed it in this film. Like, yeah, he was completely torn apart.
Oh my god, it's the Resistance, guys. They're coming.
The point is, I am conflicted when it comes to Snoke. I liked him from what I saw.
I thought he was amazing.
Yes, I thought he was great.
it was great. The way that they made his presence loom large over everything in the beginning of the film, I think is what they wanted, and what people were disappointed with Force Awakens and how little we had of him, how much of a non-presence he was. But in this film, it was like, that's when he was sliced in half, I was like, okay, is he going to put himself back together here? I was like, wait, this can't be it, can it?
He's fucking dead.
And I'm like, okay. Now, I didn't see that coming, because now I literally have no idea what the fuck comes next.
I would love to see Snoke Ghost.
That's not going to happen.
We never know.
No, Darksiders can't do that. If you look at the mythology.
See, there you go. Just putting yourself in the strict, oh, Jedi can do this and Sith can do this. If this film should have told you anything, it should shatter your expectations when it comes to the Force. Mic drop.
Go on, Alexis.
If you saw the Clone Wars, they can't do that.
The Clone Wars. Oh, the Clone Wars.
Let's talk about The Last Jedi and not the Clone Wars.
The way I want it because of the Clone Wars. That's what a director is gonna say.
Okay, I'm done talking. Go.
Let's talk about somebody who didn't get much screen time in the first one, but in the second one he got a lot of screen time. Let's talk about Mr. Dameron, Poe Dameron. What do we think about him?
They gave him a character, and I loved it. And they gave him an arc. You know, he's really someone that he's thinking with his gun first instead of his head. And that's really his whole thing. Like, at the end of the day, his whole plan that he was setting up, your expectations are that he's going to get his plan and it's going to work and he's the hero, so yay. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, his plan failed. And, you know, the leaders were right all along. And it was a lesson for him.
And then Leia put him in his place.
Yes.
And I
thought it was great.
It was great. Alexis, what did you think of Poe Dameron?
I agree.
Alexis, come on. Don't be like that. Come on. What did you think of Poe Dameron?
I don't see why people had a problem with it. There were reviews that were saying that this was a non-arc. No,
Poe Dameron?
Yeah. That his arc went nowhere.
I think it's very clear what his arc was at the
read them. That's what I read. That people had an issue with. They liked the moments that Poe Dameron had, but they didn't like the direction in which it went, or what the arc was.
He tells everyone, like, Luke's doing this to buy his time. You know that was the value, the lessons he had learned, and he put it to use at the end. Like, we can't just go and blow him up. We gotta leave. We gotta be the spark.
Which Finn was adamantly like pushing forward. He's like, now that they're distracted, we could go and blow them up.
And Finn had an arc.
Yeah, he did. What did you think about Finn, guys?
A lot of people, like, the scenes they hated most were the casino scenes and the Can't Bantop scenes.
I agree with that.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. Well, okay. The moment that I disagree on, the moment that I'm like, okay, I could do without that, is there's a chase sequence on galactic horses, and they're riding across town on them, and then I'm like, this, I could deal with a little less of this. That's just a personal picky thing, but did you feel anything for that?
I did, because a lot of people were saying, like, oh, they're just giving him busy work. He doesn't have much to do. And the whole point of Poe Dameron and their whole plan was that it wasn't going to succeed. And Poe Dameron's arc was him dealing with that and learning from that. And Finn's was his sort of coming to terms with this sort of hope. Because he was shown the dirty side of both. The
rebellion and
the First Order.
Yeah.
And in him, that his arc was completed when he tried to sacrifice himself there at the end. He's like, no, this is worth fighting for. And he picked up some doubt on that mission, but through his whole adventure with what's her name?
Rose Tico.
Rose. That's what he learned. And it's like, oh, okay, arc, like a film. How quaint. So, and a lot of people are like, oh, it was just stupid jokes and da-da-da. I was like, it was beautiful, it was great, it was very Star Wars.
Their chemistry was great.
I thought they had wonderful chemistry. I thought she was a fun character.
Did she die?
Oh, we don't know. She got finned at the end. It's like, she's hurt. We don't know if she's alive or not. I guarantee you she's probably alive. Because if she was dead, they would have been more definitive with it. I do have a complaint going forward. Please let episode 9 take place years in the future. Because 7 and 8 took place in like a couple days. And it's like, I kind of don't want
like
this
how many
trilogy.
years into the future?
2 or 3.
Okay.
Just maybe, you know what? Even if it's just 1, maybe 2 or 3, maybe even 5. Just to make it feel like it's a widespread galactic storyline. Not, hey, the rebellion and war that took place in a week. We got him though. It's like, because the original trilogy took place over like 5 years.
7 probably.
No, there was like 3 years, like 4. Because there were 3 years in between the first Star Wars and then Empire Strikes Back, and then a year in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
So around 4. So yeah, that's all.
What did you think?
First of all, to those people who kept theorizing who is Snoke, I hope you got punked. I'm happy about that, you assholes.
Maybe that's why people are pissed.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought about. It's like, oh, who is Snoke? Who is Snoke?
Snoke is Snoke.
So, for all of you have been
Ezra.
you're bombarding me with all of these stupid theories.
Ezra.
You get what you deserve, you assholes. You get what you deserve.
A recent theory was that Ahsoka was Snoke.
No, up close, that was a dude. So it's like...
well, okay.
Did you just assume Snoke's gender?
Oh my god. Those robes were nice, though.
I fully expected to walk out and not feeling at all the story with Rose and with Finn. But I'm happy that Peter sees it that way because, when it was first getting underway, those two going to the casino, I was like, okay. I was bracing myself for impact, okay? I was like, all right, this is the story that was known as the weakest thing that people didn't like, it seemed like, as a consensus. Mm-hmm. And there were things that were said about it that I just can't bring myself to agree with. About, okay, so apparently that scene took people out of the movie, that it felt like it was not in the universe of Star Wars. Which I don't get. I really don't. I loved it. The thing is, though, I will say for me it was the least interesting component of the entire movie.
But it wasn't bad at all.
But it wasn't bad at all, and I think it worked because, first of all, I think it was written wonderfully. The designs and the characters is very much Star Wars. BB-8 shines in the entire film, and especially in that segment. And him and Benicio del Toro crack me up. But then also, Finn and Rose are great together.
Yeah.
So I was like, I get that that may be the least interesting thing, and it was certainly for me, but that was because there were more interesting things happening.
Yeah.
It wasn't because it was bad at all. It was fun. It was interesting.
To me, the big shocker about that is that I was expecting it to be the weakest part of the film, which rightfully so it probably was, but there's no doubt that the chemistry between Kelly Marie Tran and John Boyega was exceptional.
And it's like, the more I think about it, the more good was done. As Peter was talking about the arc that Poe had, that it was amazing. Like, at first I was like, okay, where are they going to go with Poe? I mean, wow. And I think that they gave Oscar Isaac and John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran amazing moments to shine. But I love, in so many ways, as we further unfold the things that take place in this film, I really love the subversion of expectations. Especially, one of the moments that come to mind is when Finn is making that sacrifice play. And at that moment I was like, oh, so this is happening. I mean, at that point, I was preparing to lose John Boyega because they had sold me, okay, this is where Finn was going to go. And then at the last possible second, Rose saves him.
Yeah. Rose crashed into a ship and completely saved him.
Saying that, obviously, it seems kind of obvious saying it out loud, but while you're in the moment in the film, everything is lining up in a way where this feels like a sacrifice play. Yeah. And I got to be honest with you, that was going to be one of my negatives.
Oh, that he died?
Yeah, because I was like, okay, maybe this is a bit too much. And then she saved him.
There was a lot of
twists and turns. Maybe at that point, that could bear the risk of tearing the whole thing apart.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that moment still worked as subverting expectations completely, like Snoke being sliced in half.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the things that we should probably point out, that way we can get to it, is a lot of things steal the movie. But I don't think we've ever had a better performance by Mark Hamill.
It was great.
No. Let's talk about Luke. Yeah. Let's talk about Luke.
It is not what Peter feared it was going to be way back when we talked about the first trailer in Celebration. Because you were talking about how it was going to be a simple thing that Luke is a grump and then he is convinced to train her, which does happen, but not in the way that I thought that...
Not in the way that you think.
Not in the way that you feared, because he still has this firm ideal throughout most of the film that the Jedi are hypocrites and should and have their place in the ash heap of history.
And I love that kind of subtle jab at the prequels. He's like, Darth Sidious let the Jedi to their deaths and all that stuff. And I love that little subtle jab to the prequels.
Mm-hmm. I love, because that's the first time these, either the original trilogy or this new trilogy ever said, I think, the word Darth Sidious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, that was interesting to me. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Instead of Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
And it also, that stuck out to me too, because it just shows you that history has done his homework. He's really uncovered a lot of the history that lay underneath all of it.
The way that they portrayed the Force, I thought was amazing as well.
Again, it propels the mythology of the Force forward in a way that I wouldn't expect. The whole telecommunication thing across systems is something we've never seen before. And I thought at first, I was like, this could bear the risk of turning real cheesy real fast.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, the chemistry and the vibe that you get off of Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley, that makes it like, wow. Because giving it to lesser actors, that would have been something like completely.
But the writing also made it work because of course Daisy and Adam had great stuff, and those characters needed that communication. But what also made the writing shine in that moment is two twists. The first one, where it turns out that Snoke was actually the one that was orchestrating that, and the second one, which got the biggest applause I think of the whole movie, when Luke is quote unquote dueling Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And then what happens? I mean, that was a shocker right there. And that was A great moment.
First of all, it's pretty funny that he was like a very like temper tantrum child, like saying,
That's
I want you to fire on that man," and all the AT-AT walkers were blasting at him.
Well, it's a different name now. Don't worry, Alexis will learn it real quick.
Yeah, we'll find out what it is in the podcast review. But I genuinely, and then the way that I was like curious, like, oh, so he cut his hair back, and why is his hair black? But then when it came to it,
where did he come from?
Yeah,
there were things that happened that were really signs, but I think at the moment I was just going with the fact it didn't occur to me that it was just a vision. I thought he was actually physically there, that he came at the last moment possible, and I think what really tipped it off is that it wasn't just Leia and Kylo that saw him; everybody else saw him. Mm-hmm. So you just assume like he's there.
I love that wink that he made to 3PO, and that was pretty funny. It was then, lo and behold, the death of a Titan. The death of a Titan, and he went out.
But it wasn't a sad death, though.
No,
it was something peaceful, like serenity comes to mind. But it was a moment that felt so earned, and how appropriate. I know you were crying. Don't deny it. Yeah. I heard the tears, and I heard just the sniffles when the horizon set forward, and the Force theme came.
And then there was the twin sons.
Right.
It was one son.
There was two.
No, it was two.
Was there two?
Yeah,
there was two.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
there were two sons, and then he was like looking out, because you got to think about this. The most iconic shot of Luke Skywalker is the twin sons in A New Hope.
And a scene that always makes you cry. Doesn't matter how it's Luke or not. Usually, if it's just twin sons and it has the music.
And can I just say, I thought the callbacks were all really, really well done.
Rogue One, this is how you do it, baby.
Like
really.
With the whole help me Obi-Wan Kenobi. When R2 showed him that, and like because it wasn't just to show it show it. It was to
had
him
purpose.
The motivation.
It had meaning.
Yes.
And it's like most of the callbacks in this movie could have felt cheesy and off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't. That hologram moment.
You were crying already.
It got me teared up.
You didn't hear him? He was already.
Thank God I was on the other side.
There were so many moments where I was like, okay, I hear sniffling, and it's only coming from one person in the entire theater.
And
What about the little green friend?
Let's talk about that.
Oh my God.
My God, I was not expecting that shit.
Really?
I was not. If anybody, probably Obi-Wan, but they brought Yoda.
It's way better they did Yoda, because I didn't want no CG old Ben. Like,
it's dicey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they showed Yoda, and not just CG Yoda.
Puppet.
It's puppet Yoda. At first, when I looked at it,
it looked weird at first.
It looked weird, like CG almost.
People were laughing.
But then probably like giddy laughter.
Maybe, I don't know.
People were happy when they saw those ears.
Right, I heard the people next to me like saying, "Oh shit!" Yeah.
And then Kyle say, "Oh fuck," from like four.
It wasn't Kyle.
It wasn't me. It was the people next to us.
It sounded just like you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, geez, thanks. But anyway, going to Yoda, my God. Like, it's so refreshing seeing not CG, puppet Yoda again. And my God, it felt like the puppet from Empire.
It looked so much like
not Empire, more Jedi.
No, it was Jedi because
it was Jedi.
You know what's so great about that? It felt like there was actually a reason for him to be there.
Yeah.
What was the reason, Mr. Martinez?
To push forward Luke's character.
Yeah.
And stop looking to the past, look forward. Because his whole threat of like, I'm gonna burn it all down, and then Luke's like, okay, and then Yoda's like, all right, I'll do it myself. And
he was laughing, like, oh my God,
like he's that sort of funny asshole Yoda from that
from Empire, yeah, it felt like that.
And then Luke's like, no, like the knowledge, and he's like, stop with that.
He's basically like saying, you actually read those books? Those aren't page turners. Even I wouldn't read them.
He was like, Rey was never going to learn from that anyway.
Yeah.
And the thing is also, what was so powerful about that moment is, I think, what was he saying about failure? Nothing can make a better teacher than failure.
Yeah.
Pass forward everything you learned, including failure. And it's like,
And I mean,
this is the Jedi shit and the Force shit that made me really love Star Wars
from
to
the
begin
original
with.
movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love that shot. Again, Rian Johnson, my God, could film a fucking plate and make it look cinematic. That moment where they're both like they're kind of jaded at this point. One's beyond jaded. But they were both sitting there watching the forest tree.
That was a beautiful
burn.
moment.
That was a beautiful moment of just them just sitting there. And I like how it like called back to like him hitting stuff with the stick too.
Right.
That was pretty cool. And just the fact that they brought back Frank Oz to do the voice of Yoda.
obviously, but
Who else were you gonna bring?
of
back?
course, what was so meaningful about that particular moment, of course, it's fresh in my mind because I rewatched the films yesterday and the day before. But there's a lot of echoing that is so fucking effective in this movie, but I think one of the more powerful ones was in that scene where Yoda was like, "Do you not remember what I told you? You were supposed to pass on what you learned." And that's Yoda. And just I've missed you, Skywalker. And I just, wow, okay. So I guess a Force ghost can be funny.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy. And it's one of those questions like, where do they go when they're not, materializing as ghosts? And it's like, there's so many questions that probably should never be answered.
And apparently they could touch one another too. Like touch
Evidently.
physical things, like in terms of like hitting with the cane. And it was just such a magical moment. And then of course John Williams has to like tug at your heartstrings.
No, John Williams, I mean, there was two ones that they think they had Yoda when it came back,
When
right?
they had the Yoda theme coming on.
But you know what they also had?
Luke and Leia.
They
had the Luke
That was
and
a
Leia.
moment that I had pictured in my head that I had hoped
would happen in the new trilogy, and it came true.
And it was so beautiful.
Like even though it was like a forced manipulation,
Right.
just seeing Luke and Leia back on screen together, amazing.
I love
what he said to her though. Like, no one's ever really gone. Then he hands her the dice.
Yeah,
Millennium Falcon, and then you have the Han and Leia theme come in.
yeah.
I love that manipulation, but it just gets me so good. I love it.
Well, that's the best thing about films is their manipulation.
Right,
That's why you
right.
see a film to be manipulated, but it's very hard.
Right.
To me, where I was like, okay, I love this film. This is some badass.
You said to me, you loved it very early on
in the film. I
Yeah.
was waiting to get like
upset.
Yeah, because as you guys say, I guess I'm the most critical here, but I never was, and it's like, no, this is fitting. Okay, the lightsaber fight between Rey and Kylo Ren. No, they didn't fight together. The fact that they didn't fight each other, but they fought together. That was great. I loved it.
It was a good moment. It was generally
great
a good
action
moment.
scene. And it's
let's
to see the light and the dark together, and it's, I don't know.
let's.
And that was a moment you had no idea how it was going to end. It's like, okay, where does this go from here?
Let's talk Carrie Fisher and Leia.
She was great.
I think she was great
wonderful.
too. She was
She was
sassy.
wonderful.
But that moment though, early on when, boom.
I was like, oh shit, because everyone was thinking like, okay,
That's how
She's-
it's gonna go.
I heard people. I was like,
people were like, oh shit,
they were
I
holding
guess.
their breath. Like,
Yeah.
oh, what?
But then she used. Did she use the Force?
Yes.
What do you think she used?
I don't
It
know.
was an invisible rope.
It was the invisible tractor beam.
No, Kylo did it from behind the scenes.
Yeah, he was like, whoosh.
It's like, here you go, Mom. Sorry, I fucked things up.
Okay, I mean,
Well, I didn't know that. The thing that's shocking is like I didn't know that she could do that kind of thing with the Force.
tell me, Peter, what you thought of that whole thing.
I loved that.
I loved that moment.
Just to see her like, vroom, fly into space. I was like, shit. I guess this is how we're doing this, and it felt like a little bit like dark, and then they kept showing her in space. I'm like, okay, something's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like she reached out and she went in, and I was like, this is great.
And then you heard a little bit of the inklings of the Force theme. And
Well, you saw it was her theme, wasn't it? That was playing. Wasn't it Leia's theme?
Like,
Her theme played quite a bit.
Yeah, but especially in that moment when she's like reaching out with the Force and she's coming back. That was a fucking badass moment. I never thought that, like, and it answers a question that people had. Like, yeah, she learned to use the Force. No shit. 30
She always
years.
had it in her,
Yes.
but she never
Like, utilized it much.
Because she was never...
She was a politician,
Right.
through and through. Her
But obviously
relationship
Luke had
with Poe
it. Yeah.
was great. With Rey, it's not so much. And you know what's funny? I didn't realize it. See, this is the whole thing. It's why it's like, it really felt like, this almost feels, and I can see maybe this is why people get angry, that The Force Awakens and this film are like a really expensive, like, not prequel, but like pre-story before the actual story begins. Because Rey and Poe, this is the first time they met at the very end of the film.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I guess that's true. I don't know. I thought, because like I said.
And then Leia finally hugged Chewbacca at the end, and I'm like...
Yeah, you know what? I rewatched The Force Awakens. That's a glaring issue for me.
And then finally, I'm like, well, jeez, it took you long enough. There's so much I could gush over on this.
Well, I mean,
Also,
can we go to... Yeah, go.
I have one more, and I know you don't give a shit about this, too, the same way you don't give about Snoke. No Knights of Ren.
They're probably going to come to play.
I'm really hoping they come into play in a big
With
way.
Supreme Leader
Especially with all with Snoke gone. I want like a super elite badass, you know.
Yeah, it's going to be like... I kind of get the vibe that they're going to play like the Inquisitor role from Star Wars Rebels.
Maybe. Because remember, Luke said he killed some of them, but he left with others.
Yeah.
So those are obviously the Knights of Ren. I'm very... I thought it was a great... Oh, are we done?
We're still so much more.
Okay,
The
go
action
ahead.
sequences, the battles, the
They were
scenery,
great.
the visuals.
My God, Crate is like...
Oh my God, right?
An orgasmic cinematic experience.
You always use that word. I don't know. It's very weird. No, but it was really well done visually. It's really cool with the whole red.
Right.
The spaceship battles. I love, and again, this is another thing that probably people hated, but I thought was so cool, is the entire film, they're basically just trying
to get
to
away.
escape. Like, just they're on the ship the whole film.
Isn't that Empire?
I know, but people are pissed about it here. I don't get it.
Yeah, I love the fact that they were pretty much like, they were low on fuel. They were out all of a sudden, in that beginning, that base that they were in, was that the base that was at the end of during Force Awakens?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, yeah,
you
obviously.
get from there and you're out in space and you're getting Crate and you feel like you're fucking cornered the whole time, and
That's like asking, like, how are they going to get out of this?
it just makes the thing more desperate. But the thing is,
Claustrophobic even sometimes.
but the thing is that the thing with this is that you never got the sense of claustrophobia with Empire. I'm gonna deduct a Empire point and put it on Last Jedi. Here we go.
That's
Here we
a
go.
new one.
Because it's just Han and Leia, and they're the one who's being pursued, versus the rebels. They're out somewhere safe
Well, you don't see the rebels ever again after the beginning.
until the end, when you see their fleet. When you see the fleet.
Oh yeah, that's true.
When you see the fleet, and that's basically the rebels, and they're there. You have the entire fucking rebellion with them.
Of what it is right now. That's why I'm hoping for like a few year jump to 9.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to see what 9 is. I'm a little worried with but
Because
I'm.
they're not including Leia in episode 9.
That's why the people behind it. I love JJ, but it's like I don't know.
Luke is dead. You can't use him.
Well, Force Ghost.
Well,
But
yeah.
It's.
But he had to be a physical presence.
No, he can't. But he wasn't at the end of this film either, and it was still great.
Yeah.
I gotta say, maybe just because this is the first time I've seen it, and we've literally just walked out of seeing it, maybe if I think about it, I'll come up with way more issues and be like, okay.
The music you like this time?
I love the music.
Wow.
But right now I just can't really think of any. Maybe
Put it
by
on the
time,
scoreboard.
Maybe by the time we do the podcast, I'll be like, okay, I have an issue with this. But as of right now, I think it was incredibly well done Star Wars.
It is a really well done Star Wars film, and I absolutely I don't know yet where to place it in terms of like ranking in terms of all the Star Wars films.
I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking about how great this was.
But overall, this was a great film. If I would double toast it, I would say it's better than Sex if I were...
They gave it a matinee.
That sucks.
Yeah, people aren't feeling it. That's okay. It's whatever.
That sucks.
People have their opinion.
What do you think that is, though? What the hell?
I don't know.
It kind of feels like we're the oddballs here. We loved it, right?
That's usually the case.
So it's because I look at you guys and it's like you guys are more forgiving to Star Wars.
Yeah, we are. But
I really came in ready to be critical.
I think we're all forgiving to a certain extent, though. I mean, I liked Rogue One, but it's like, hey, guys,
I never said that film was great. It's like it's a solid action film.
Yeah,
it's okay, but it's definitely not bad for the most part. But I don't know. I'm just walking away and trying to think. I was looking at everyone's negatives, and it's like
they don't add up.
I don't know. Like I said, if I think about it more, maybe it'll click and be like, okay, these are issues. But so far, I thought it was really well done. It advanced the characters. They all had story arcs. The action was great. The music was great. The visuals was great.
The
callbacks were great and also adequate and well done. Like, it wasn't glaring.
People were saying this was cheesy in moments.
Wait, hold on. Stop the presses. Are you telling me a Star Wars film is cheesy?
Yeah.
Shocking, right?
That's unbelievably shocking. It's almost as if it's a kid's film. I don't... to me, maybe it's because people are trying to recapture the magic of the original trilogy, or how they felt about those original films, specifically the first and the second one. And I think it's just literally impossible to do that at this point. Because even the issues and the faults with those films have become legendary, and they have become a part of what's so great about the film. So you almost can't even really critique the films. They're just great. But
I think at the end of the day, with what we're left with here, and I think the three of us, no offense to the people who actually have jobs, paying jobs for this, but I think more or less we kind of, in a small slice, I'd say, even though the consensus is positive, although they all have their issues. I do think, though, the view that we are providing here with how this movie is, I do have faith that will be the view that will prevail throughout time. Yeah. Because... And maybe, I don't know, I don't think it's an issue that we have low standards or that... I'm sorry, I'm picky as fuck. He's even worse. And Kylo can have the most weird tangents over the smallest of things. And yet I think all of us can come forward and say that this is amazing. And this is what Star Wars is about.
The thing is, guys, Peter, you mentioned to me a while ago that this was the exact reactions that everybody had for the first time viewing Empire.
Yeah.
And look where Empire stands right now. It's regarded as the best Star Wars film of all time.
But I'm not gonna make excuses for this film.
No,
if people don't like it,
right?
That's them.
Right. And obviously you guys do you. But with Peter, what we should point out is what he told me is, I haven't felt emotion like this since the original movies.
Yes. Not in the prequels, not in The Force Awakens, not in Rogue One. This one, I honestly felt like I was having a cinematic experience. You know, I was gripping my seat. You know, I was holding my breath like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, I was like, you know, the laughs were great. It was just a real... It had all the moments to me where it's like, that's what Star Wars is about. So I walked away saying that was a good Star Wars film.
And it was a fucking fantastic
And then just wait
film.
till tomorrow when we do the podcast and it's like, this sucks. I slept on it.
But how
Fuck movies.
How often does
Ezra's
that happen,
supposed to be
though?
Snoke.
How often does that happen?
Ahsoka.
How often does it happen that we change our minds
It
completely?
does happen. The biggest one for me was Suicide Squad. I came out fairly positive. Like, it was a 6.5. Now, I'm like, that is a 2 film. It is terrible. So I do. These are initial reactions. I want to stress that.
Well, that's the point of doing both the After Dark and the podcast, is that this is what we thought
initially
first, and then when we get into the podcast, it gives us a chance to sleep on it. You know, we usually record these things on Thursday.
I
go
Friday.
to
you see it coming.
Oh, these, yeah.
You see it coming, but I just hope. Oh God,
Rebellions are built on hope.
Yeah, which is the story of Star Wars. How bad is this backlash gonna be? How bad?
I don't know.
I hope it's not too bad. I hope people love this movie.
One last thing before we go, I want to know what your thought is on the final few shots of the film.
Peter, take it away.
Oh, I know everyone expected, like, they saw all of them there in the Millennium Falcon escaping, and then it cuts to the kid. You know, he's talking about Luke Skywalker, and you know, they kind of tease he might be Force sensitive.
Yeah, because he was gonna sweep the floor, but then he used the Force to get the.
To him. And then it shows, you know, it shows him look at the shot, zoom out, and then he looks at the Ring of the Rebellion, and I think a lot of it has to do with Rian Johnson, and it's him like saying this is what Star Wars sort of meant to me as a kid, but I also think it has a double meaning. It's like this is what their goal, the whole thing of hope in Star Wars.
This is why
spread it to the galaxy,
yes.
and including this kid. This is what we fight for. It can be a little off-putting if you want everything exactly the same, but it made sense.
Yeah.
I guess that's my thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a nice scene. I thought it was
nice.
Yeah. So, what did you
But Luke didn't have a badass sword fight where he did 50 flips. This movie sucks.
He did have a sword fight. Did we like that?
Well, he technically didn't really.
Right.
He was just dodging.
He was just dodging.
It was.
I love that shot of him just floating and just like, oh.
You know what else gave it away?
Master. Huh.
I was wondering, that lightsaber broke.
Yes.
I was like, did he magically
Looking back on it,
together?
while it was happening, I was like, what is happening here? It makes sense now, but I was like, okay, wait. So there are clues.
I kind of thought he was already dead. Like, I thought when they shot him, it did kill him, but that was his Force ghost.
Yeah,
That's what
that
I
came
thought
to mind.
at
Yeah.
first. I was like, is that what's going on? But I was like, oh no, he's Zen Master Skywalker.
Because in terms of canon, he can like pull Star Destroyers out of the sky.
That's not canon.
Anything else to add?
I thought this is a fucking great film. I
want to watch it again.
Let's go. Let's go right now.
I wanna really just think about it, watch it again, and then see where I feel about it.
Yeah.
But right now, it's very positive.
It's gonna be a hard top 10 list, that's for sure.
Oh, it's already my number one favorite.
Well, it wasn't better than Wonder Woman.
Well,
I'm gonna throw up.
Anyway, guys, this is.
I like that film. I don't know why we keep attacking it.
This is Red Spotlight Entertainment.
It's not in the top 10 anywhere.
This is Red Spotlight Entertainment. Check out our After Darks on both iTunes, podcast.com, and YouTube. You're welcome. And then also we have all our other regular programmed podcasts coming up. Special projects coming up pretty soon, and a lot of stuff happening on Red Spotlight Entertainment. So check out us on those three channels, three devices. So without further ado, I'm Kyle Lira. This is Alexis. This is Peter. Bye.